Okay, so, and I'm recording right now, so go ahead and just give me your name
My name is Laura Hosman.
and your sort of, how you're involved.
I'm an assistant professor of political science at Illinois Institute of Technology, and I lead a class that's been going on for 3 semesters that's project-based and real-world challenge-based. It's called an interprofessionalization project, and so I have 10 students every semester who get to work on this project, and we have worked on creating a solar powering solution for schools in Haiti that are participating in the One Laptop Per Child program through the Ministry of Education, which came about from a donation by the One Laptop Per Child Foundation and the Inter-American Development Bank. So we're not so much involved with, let's say, deploying the laptops at all. We're helping charge them after they've been deployed. So charge them with solar in a renewable energy, clean energy way.
So have you actually been to Haiti?
Yes, a couple of times. In fact, so our large installation just took place in August of this year, 2011, and we had a single school deployment that is able to charge 500 laptops. Having said that, the school that we were going to deploy at changed on us due to circumstances beyond our control a week beforehand. So the school that we did deploy at had 400 laptops, so they have some excess capacity. But we were able to make the change rather smoothly from the one school to the other, and they were both in the same city, so it wasn't like we had to change across the country.
What were, some of your ideas going into Haiti, and then when you actually got there, the changes you might have had to make or figure out on the fly?
I would say that within our projects, one thing that happened that was a smaller challenge. I mean, it could have been much worse. One of our 16 boxes didn't make it through customs. So 1 out of 16, no big deal, right? But of course it had parts that we were depending on. And we got up to the roof, and it turned out that there were already really strong bolts in the roof to hold the roof in place, the beams across. We used those extra strong bolts to put the panels directly onto the roof instead of having a bracket mounting system. And the students, I wasn't up on the roof installing the solar panels, but the students told me that that was actually a better solution. So one of those silver linings that came about. The other thing was we went there without a plan for a wiring harness or charging station. And so we made that up on the spot, and I was so proud of my students that they basically came up with the solution on the spot, and it worked out. And the big thing that I learned was that the solar panels themselves were the easiest part of the project, and the wiring that took every single day for the rest of the trip was the more difficult part. But having said that, I tend to find, I'm a social scientist, the technology part is actually the easiest part. And it's the human side of adopting the technology, understanding the technology, getting human beings to work together and getting beyond politics, etc., is the harder long-term challenge. So that's actually the side that I come at this from.
Okay, could you give kind of an example of that, or kind of a telling story to illustrate that?
Well, we're working with the Ministry of Education, and we've found it a challenge to get inroads into the community where we're working. So we haven't been able to, for example, to identify a local champion, which is, a best practice in these kind of things. We were hoping that it would be the headmaster of the school, but given that we implemented at the school, or they only found out a week beforehand that we were implementing at their school because of this circumstance, a new headmaster at the previous school, there may not have been time to have the correct, situation in place that would have allowed them to see all of the benefits that their school would get from having these laptops. And so the communication back and forth between Haiti has been very difficult. Another thing, we're still working on getting internet connectivity. So having actual communication back and forth in country to Chicago, which is where we're based, has been an extremely large challenge, extremely large.
What would be some of your advice for people that are heading into Haiti?
So far here at the conference, most of the people that I'm speaking with are working on very small deployments. For example, a couple of schools that have maybe 40 laptops, or one school with 40 laptops. I think that that's an entirely different scenario than working with, for example, the Ministry of Education, where we're deploying at schools that have 500 laptops a pop, each school. It's an entirely different way of doing business, if you will. And so we just had a session where we were looking at best practices, and one of the things that always comes up, establish a local champion, work with the teachers, work with a local NGO. We haven't been able to do that because our partner is the Ministry of Education, and they not only think that that's their role, they want that to be their role, all of those things that I just mentioned, and they don't necessarily want us to work with an NGO. So I'm not sure that I have very good insight or advice for projects that are not necessarily working with a large governmental organization. I think that you're going to have completely different experiences if you're not, if you're working on a very small scale.
Right. And then just one last question. After you've been to Haiti, what kind of difference do you think the XO laptop can make there? A Haiti without that and a Haiti with that?
I would like to think that technology in the schools gives children hope for better education, or it actually does improve education. Actually, in my studies, one of the things that I would like to believe is that technology can bring about hope for a better future, a better educational experience for students, and we're bringing solar power to these schools. So I very much have the hope that they see the way forward with new renewable energy, which is going to be very important for all of us in the future. So.
Cool. And then any questions that a question I might have left out that you wanted just to add? Okay, cool. Excellent.